we have a special guest. Now today we'll be talking about something new and exciting in the field of skincare as we discover how our Alavida Regenerating Trio works. And today we have Jane Mann with us. Jane has been in the skincare industry for over 20 years and honestly is top in her business, top in what she does. She's one of the top estheticians in Las Vegas, where she owns a highly successful skin clinic. She brings a unique perspective to LifeWave's skincare line, Alavida, with an emphasis on beauty from the inside out. So today, Jane will be presenting on how to harness the combination of power of Alavida and X39, as well as glutathione for great results. Jane's been with LifeWave since May of this year and has recently become a manager. So let me welcome Miss Jane Mann to the call. Hi, Jane. Are you here with us?
Yes. Hi. How are you?
I am so great. Thank you for joining us, Jane.
Well, I'm excited to be here, and I'm really excited to share from a professional and clinical perspective the value of the LifeWave patches, and in particular the Alavida patch. So I hope that the presentation I am presenting today is something useful in the tools that you have and will make you ultimately more successful as well. So.
Absolutely, Jane. We're so excited. I know that you're new to LifeWave and you're somewhat new to Alavida, but with all the experience that you have in your career, I know that you have so much that you can share with us, not only just about how to look and feel young, but how we can utilize these products to help us along the way. So I'm going to turn it over to you. I know you have a great presentation prepared for us.
So Alavida is an incredible product, and when I really began to understand what it did, it became more and more important in my presenting it to clients. So we're going to start out a little bit about just what is the Alavida product. And it is sold in a trio or independently. And it's basically to address the signs of oxidative aging. And that's a word right now, or oxidative stress, that we hear, but a lot of consumers don't understand, because we think about aging in terms of wrinkles. We think about aging in terms of dry skin. And in fact, if you look at this slide, you're going to see the woman's face behind the ingredient tab. And it kind of shows you those are visual signs of oxidative stress. And so it's kind of a hardening of the skin. It's where the elasticity or the tightness of the skin starts to lose its tuger or its resilience. It's where the collagen and the buoyancy of the skin start to absorb light versus reflect it. And so Alavida addresses all of these issues topically as well as at the root source. So we're going to go in a little bit to the ingredients, because many times people have sensitivities to ingredients in normal skincare. And some of these irritants are parabens and sulfates. And parabens and sulfates are really like preservatives, or sometimes it's something to create a subtle erythema or an irritation in the skin to produce a look that's anti-aging, but really it's actually causing damage to the skin. And so in these formulations that Alavida has, they've really selected amazing ingredients to create a genuine result in the skin versus a imposter type result. The first one I kind of want to address is the microalgae oil. And one of the leading causes I see of aging many times is the loss of the resiliency of the skin. And women will come in and they just wonder, what can I do about this sagginess? And well, this microalgae oil really addresses the elasticity issue through a DHA, or kind of an oil. The next ingredient that is used is milk peptides. And milk peptides boost the collagen production in the skin. And again, the collagen production is going to be kind of like how tight and firm the skin looks. The next ingredient is the moringa butter. And I love this because this starts to make the skin look smooth and really repel light and look more youthful. And it also keeps the hydration that the body naturally produces in the skin. Another amazing ingredient is vitamin C, and I think everybody knows vitamin C is one of the superior antioxidants and necessities in creating collagen in the skin, but many times vitamin C is very volatile because it oxidizes before it even reaches the skin. And the Alavida product has created a delivery system of the vitamin C that is 50 times better than a majority of products on the market. And it goes deeper into the skin where it can actually be accessed and used by the skin. Rice bran oil is just another type of oil and hydrant for the skin, and it's an essential lipid. And oils are really important for protecting the skin barrier, especially as we age, because the skin starts to get older and less resilient to the environmental toxins. Rosemary extract helps protect against free radicals. And we're going to go in and really kind of break down what a free radical is later, but it's absolutely necessary in the management of oxidative stress. So what makes Alavida different? Just other than having a skincare product line is, for the first time, we are able to address oxidative stress at the root source. And we do this through the patches. And to really understand what significance these patches play, I think it's important that we take a little history on why we age. This is a great photo of my neighbor and his son. And when you look at each of them independently, you think they both look amazing. But one day I took their picture and I merged it, and you can see the 30-year difference in the cells. And this is a beautiful example of oxidative stress. You can look at, just the left-hand side, and he doesn't appear to be, you don't see the UV damage, you don't see a lot of aging until you compare it to skin that's 6 years old and how buoyant and reflective and just pure that skin is. And this is a lovely example of accumulative oxidative stress. Oxidative stress can happen internally, which is intrinsic, or externally, which is extrinsic. And one of the most probably recognized and understood forms of intrinsic oxidative aging would be UV damage. We see this by the sun all the time. But other effects are lifestyle habits and how you choose to live your life. Maybe if you're a night surgeon, or you work with people that work in the entertainment industry, or if you're around smoke, all of this is extrinsic aging that the skin has to use its energy to fight and protect the body at all cost. Intrinsic aging, however, is kind of like what we're born with. And so when you think about filling out a health history form, many times it will ask, is there any genetic component of cancer or any genetic component of heart disease? These are intrinsic markers or clues that we look at from an intake sheet. And this is going to dictate many times the eye color, the heritage of like the hair and the individual makeup of each and every cell, including the DNA. And why this is interesting is because each of our cells have a set amount of cell division. And every time a cell divides, inside the nucleus, there's the DNA, and that's going to have a little chromosome, and that has a little like shoelace type ending on each of the chromosome, and every cell division makes that chromosome shorter. And so the intrinsic aging many times is predetermined in the DNA and in the telomeres. So what does this all mean? We can see aging visually, but many times this happens at a cellular level. And this happens through the age of your client or you. This happens through the telomere shortening. It's induced by the oxidative stress. and many times it's seen through the skin appearance, such as glycation. So I want to kind of show you a little bit about what oxidative stress looks like. In this first image, you can see this is a picture of a healthy cell, and this is kind of what we're all born with for the most part. But in the second illustration, you start to see that this cell is under attack, and it's a free radical. And a free radical in a scientific term is kind of like an unpaired electron. But in a more of a, maybe an understood term, it would be like the third wheel. It's like if you were going out and there's just always a third person that doesn't have a paired mate, and they're just talking to you all the time. Well, that's what this extra electron is doing, is it's just beating down the cell membrane until finally the cell membrane is compromised. And where this is important in aging is that as the cell membrane is constantly under attack, it starts to lose the integrity of its ability to divide properly, to communicate with other cells, and to carry out normal cellular functions, which include protein synthesis. And this is the creation of collagen and elastin. So real quickly, if you look at that first cell, when it would divide, it mirrors that first cell in a healthy scenario. But now let's look at the illustration 3, the cell with oxidative stress. When we have a cell with oxidative stress, many times when it divides, or all the time, it replicates what it's dividing. And this leads to increased loss of the right information from the DNA and RNA to progress into being an effective anti-aging tool. Kind of a fun quiz I like to give a lot of people is, where are you? Now, by no means is this exact, but in general, people under 25, the leading cause of aging is going to be just these unpaired electrons starting to wreak havoc on the cell membrane. 25 to 35, this gets a little bit more intense, and we call this lipid peroxidation. And in a technical term, the barrier of the membrane is made up of water and oil. And so now there is a peroxidation of that oil, and see an impaired integrity of the cell membrane. From age 35 to 50, because of these first two steps of oxidative stress, lipid peroxidation, now we have a mitochondria that is starting to become impaired and not operate as effectively as he used to operate. And what this means is the cellular energy is reduced drastically. The dividing information is of the cell is reduced significantly, and we don't have the cell carrying out its normal functions like metabolism or sorting through the good and bad toxins. And we start to see a real direct effect of this oxidative stress visually on the skin. Over 50, the cell is impaired, the mitochondria is impaired, and these cells shut down, and that's called senescence. And this is because the body has a way of protecting the skin, and so these cells just stop reproducing. Visual signs that you can kind of see is, my favorite is the steak analogy. And below, when you look at this rare steak, you can see that it is, this rare steak, it's absolutely juicy, and it's able to repel and divide and produce healthy cells. But as we age, these cells become oxidized. Visually, this looks like loss of structural integrity. And visually, this comes up in the loss of elasticity. The first signs typically of oxidative stress are seen in the fine lines around the eyes. Also, the skin has a hard time releasing skin cells, and so there's a buildup of cells on the skin, and many times this can present itself as acne or just kind of like a thick, dull appearance. We also see oxidative stress in the form of pigmentation, and there are two types of pigmentation. Sometimes it's UV induced, and sometimes it's just the toxins from the cell called lipofuscins. And this is just where the skin just looks very dull, and you start to see pigmentation deep and it's more of a brownish yellow color. Oxidative stress also can turn into essential fatty acid deficiency as well as lipid peroxidation. And to the untrained eye on the skin, many telltale signs are in the hands. You'll start to see the skin around the fingers and the knuckles are very, very dry, as well as very dry cuticles. Other visual signs will be sometimes amelia, which are little white pockets or little white nuggets underneath the skin. That extremely dry alligator skin, as well as little bumps on the skin. All of these are direct issues related to oxidative stress. So, what is the LifeWave solution? Up until now, being an esthetician, we have never been able to address skin aging at the root cause. And David has come up with a way through these patches to directly communicate with the pineal gland to release a hormone or a peptide that's associated with protecting or guarding the body against oxidative stress. And this particular patch is a signal to the pineal gland to release the hormone epithalamium. Now, epithalamium is a really big word and a little bit scary, but I like to just kind of break it down is whenever we have a signal to a peptide, it's like a phone number. It's a direct number to this specific peptide, and all we're doing is calling up this peptide to do its job. So the patch that we put on, Alavida, calls up into the epithalamium and it says, okay, you need to do what you do best. And this is to increase melatonin production, improve the immunity responses, stimulate the body's own antioxidant defenses against these free radicals, increase lifespan we have found in animals, but it has not been taken over to humans, so we cannot address that or say that at this time. But it has also been shown, because of the incredible antioxidant properties, to increase the elasticity, reduce the oxidative stress, increase the frontal lobe activity of the brain, and improve sleep, mental clarity, and focus. And we're getting this all from a simple skin patch. Now you may be wondering, what does sleep have to do with skin? But sleep is the one time that our body hits the reset button and all of this wonderful activity for antioxidants can actually take place. So how is it used? Well, for many of you, your distributors, you understand that we place it on certain locations on the body. And this location triggers to the significant area to create the results. These are just some of the results that have been seen after only 4 weeks. And I can tell you, as a seasoned esthetician that sees over 100 to 150 clients a month, it is very hard to achieve these results really ever. So to have an antioxidant that I can now recommend to clients and to have a patch that they don't have to take all the supplements is amazing. So let's just take a look at this gal. She's seeing an increase in the elasticity. We're seeing an increase in kind of the light of the skin. If you look at her in the first one, her first photo, she really starts to absorb the light. In the second photo, in consistent lighting, her skin is now reflecting the light. And this is typically because there's an increase in the elasticity. This is phenomenal. Look at her eyelids in where the circles are. This is definitely an increase in elasticity, and it's very rarely seen. When you look at her left image, her eyelids show what we call in aesthetics loss of adhesion. And loss of adhesion is when you can literally lift the skin from the muscle and it stays lifted. And there are various degrees in loss of adhesion. Hers is fairly significant, and when you look at the difference, and I do believe that this is by combining the skincare as well as the patches, This is like getting an eye surgery without even doing the surgery. And again, this was replicated. And that's really something that you may want to talk and show when you're showing somebody that might be interested in getting the Alavida patch, is the replication. We're not just seeing this happen in one person. These results are easily replicated and consistently seen with all the users. So again, we have an increase in the elasticity in the circle, but also look at underneath the eye. You can start to see more of a clarity in the pigmentation. Here, this is definitely an increase in the collagen. There's a change in the dynamic wrinkle. And if you look underneath in the second photo and compare the underneath, again, we see those little fine lines, and those are kind of the telltale signs of oxidative stress. And you can see it's directly resolved in that second photo. And again, we've got around the eyes, I think, is maybe one of the first places we start to see the results, because the skin is so thin, and while it shows the first signs of aging, it also shows the first signs of repair. You can also see the difference in the pigmentation. And then lastly, again, this is just kind of looking at just the overall results of the diminishing of the wrinkles. We see a little bit more buoyancy in her skin, an overall lightening of her skin, and all of that you have at your fingertips by offering the Alavida.
You're a great representation of what working from the inside out can look like when you're pairing it with some great technology. Thank you for being so gorgeous. So, one thing that came to my mind as you were chatting, and you did talk about this a little bit, but with so much information surrounding how this product line works and all the science that's really behind what it does, most of us lay individuals, or those that maybe aren't as experienced in this industry as you, what would you say is kind of like the biggest takeaway? What's the biggest difference, and how can an average individual person share what this is with those that they're talking to?
Alavida is the only product that I have seen to date that truly addresses root cause. And when we can address root cause and then complement it with external products, we're hitting psychologically two aspects of aging. One, giving the consumer or the client using the product something they're doing. We're giving them an action to propel a change in the skin. And then we're using something such as a patch that's really going in and slowing down the root cause of aging. And this is something that no other product line on the market does. Nothing else is going to stop the cell from being compromised due to oxidative stress. We can take a lot of vitamins, we can take supplements, and here's kind of something I tried even in my own clinic yesterday. I had somebody come in and I said, well, here's the root cause of your skin condition, and these are the supplements that you would need to take. And I just watched their eyes just glaze over. And I said, you don't want to take all those supplements? And they said, no. And I said, how about just using a patch? And they were like, yes, that's amazing. That's what I want to do. And it was just one of the easiest presentations and solutions to a skin issue. And so I would just say that there are so many, we can address it through antioxidants, but then we have an absorption issue, and we have a digestive issue, and we have a memory issue to even take them. And yet a patch, they will see the results in less than 4 weeks, and that starts to kind of fuel the motivation. But now they also can pair it with a topical that they can see the results almost instantly because of some of the incredible ingredients that are in the skincare products.
Oh, I love that. There are some other questions that kind of relate to what you were just talking about. One individual had shared, and it looks like Marilyn. She said, if my clients can afford only one form of Alavida, would you recommend the Alavida patch or the cream or the nectar?
I would absolutely recommend the patch. So you can put them on any type of topical skincare. but nothing is going to do what the patches do. So hands down, patches.
Absolutely. I would agree with you on that one. Perfect. No, I appreciate you answering that one because I did think it was a really good question. We've had other questions surrounding how the other patches can work with Alavida. I know that you are a big proponent of a few of the patches working together. Can you talk about what you would think would be a great combination of patches for the ultimate result when it comes to beautiful skin?
Yeah, absolutely. So let's just take, every skin has a condition and every person has a concern. So typically, with someone like myself, probably you don't want to go there because I use all the patches. But I think for anti-aging specific, Alavida is a phenomenal patch, but I do think it needs to be combined with major antioxidant glutathione. And then obviously the X39. I think that's a great trio. If you are a person that likes sugar, or you notice sometimes maybe when you guys replay this, there's a skin condition called glycation, and I kind of talked about it. And this is a hardening it's kind of like a hardening of the cross-links of the fibrous collagen and elastin, and it starts to create almost like a look like no amount of moisturizer is going to resolve the issue. This is called glycation, and carnosine is a phenomenal patch that if that is a skin condition, I would combine Alavida, carnosine, and the X39. A big one that I use in my clinic is acne and really sensitive skin conditions. And again, that is glutathione and Alavida.
I love it. Thank you so much for that. I know that that's something that can be a powerful combination. So perfect. Okay, well, honestly, my dear, thank you so much. Just as a recap for everyone, myalavida.com is the website that Jane was mentioning here as to where you can locate the before and after photos that she shared in this presentation. There are lots of great resources here for you to learn more about Alavida. Jane did such a good job sharing all this information, but if you want to continue to learn and research and really dive into some of the information and science, this is a great resource for you, myalavida.com. So Jane, honestly, thank you so much for sharing your knowledge with us, for training us on how this product system can work for us to maximize the beauty within and to help us to look beautiful from the inside out and to look as young as we possibly can. Thank you so much for everything you brought to us today.